All right, let's go. All right, so I'm Lindley Tirobia. I'm a realtor with Berkshire Hathaway EWM in Miami, Florida. And I'm here today with my friend Pablo Tirado, who is a property insurance specialist and here to tell us a few things that every homeowner should know about home insurance. Thank you very much, Pablo, for joining me.
No problem. This is going to be great. This is great.
So tell us a little bit about you and your company.
So my name is Pablo Tirado. As Lindley said, I have an insurance agency located in Miami. We've been in an independent agency for about 6 years now. And we have a big group of clients in Miami, mainly homeowners insurance. And we specialize in homes in Coral Gables, Pinecrest, Palmetto Bay, some in Cutler Bay, and up north in Miami Lakes, etc. So we have a pretty broad group of homeowners.
And I know you also have a great commercial division too. You do a lot of commercial insurance.
Yeah, we do a lot of commercial insurance. About half our clients are business owners or professionals. So we do have a lot of doctors, lawyers, and business owners, whether they're small business owners, small warehouse, or we have large business owners as well.
So my plan is I'm going to ask you a few questions that I think homeowners need to know and probably maybe don't know and should know about. Anything you want to fill in the gaps, please do. Okay. But I'll just start firing questions and see where we go.
Okay.
Number one, what are things people can do to help bring their insurance rates down?
So right now, what is helping out getting the lowest rates is going to be having shutters and a new roof. I mean, if you don't have shutters, getting shutters or impact windows, they do get the same credit. So as long as you cover all the openings, you're going to get a discount with that. And new roofs are getting a pretty big discount as well. So those are the two main things. And then aside from the wind mitigation credits, you could obviously get credits for your alarm if you have a burglar alarm or fire alarm, but it has to be monitored by a company.
Good point.
Choose, but it has to be monitored. Other things, like a secure community. If you live in a community that has a gate or limited entry, security going around, those obviously give you a little bit of credit. If you do have a new roof, make sure that your insurance agent knows that, because you can resubmit for those credits if you haven't, if you got it a while ago.
Okay. Do you get a better credit if you have impact windows versus shutters, or is it the same credit?
Same credit as with the standard Florida companies, as long as all the openings are protected and they're verified. And that means all the openings means doors, including your garage door, windows, as well as skylights and glass block windows. And those, if they're all protected, you will get the same credit, whether it's impact or impact glass, or whether it's a shutter that you have on there.
I think that's a misconception. People think they're going to put on impact windows, even though they have shutters, and suddenly their insurance is going to go down, and that's just not the case.
No,
as long as you're protected, you get that credit, and that's
correct.
As good of a credit as you're going to get.
Correct. That's absolutely correct.
Awesome. Okay, question 2. What questions should buyers be asking their insurance agents when they are renewing or binding insurance?
So there's insurance. It can get pretty complicated, and depends on the agent that you have. They may be doing some things to lower the premium without you knowing. So obviously you want to know what coverages you have, what are your deductibles for the policy. The worst thing that you want to happen is if you have hurricane damage and all of a sudden you have a 5% deductible, and it's a really it's going to put a big dent in your pocket in terms of when you get back. So $500,000 home with a 5% deductible, you're going to be paying $25,000 out of pocket for damage. That's big. The replacement cost is something that you have to review with your agent. I see a lot of proposals out there or quotes out there that the replacement cost is definitely not going to cover the amount replace the home or to
Mm-hmm.
rebuild the home. So that's huge, and I see that a lot. A lot of that happening. I just had a case yesterday where the individual continued to tell me that they were getting a premium. I think it was like $3,800, and they told me the company, and I have access to that company. I went in there and I'm trying to get to that rate, and it was impossible. And the reason for it was they had their replacement cost was extremely low. It was under $100 a square foot. Impossible to rebuild a home for that. I mean,
Wow.
right now the average is about $135 a square foot for a standard home, and that's like with carpets in the bedroom. A standard.
So the person that had quoted that insurance rate had put in a super low replacement cost estimate to bring the quote down.
Yeah, to bring the quote down. And what happens then they get a surprise in 2 or 3 months later when the insurance company reviews it, and then they increase either they increase the replacement cost, or there is a claim, and then they only going to prorate the amount of the claim because of the lower replacement cost. So those are big. Other things you need to that your clients or anybody buying a home or shopping for insurance needs to know is what are the sub limits. The big one right now everybody's talking about is water damage. A lot of companies are excluding water damage from their homeowners policies, and that water damage has to do with a pipe breaking in your home, or a hose to the washer, or let's say your disposal under your sink, and it damages your kitchen or your flooring. Some companies are excluding water. Some are giving the agents the option to do it. So make sure that you know what option they're giving you. And some are sublimiting it to about $10,000. So that could be a big impact on there. Other sublimits, mold and mildew. That's one. Another one is your personal property, jewelry, any collections, firearms, even silverware has sublimits on theft. So if somebody breaks into the house and still takes all your jewelry, your silverware, paintings, etc., you may be sublimited to to a coverage of $1,000 or $1,500, and then you may have a deductible of $2,500, and you're not gonna get anything, and they
Right.
took all your jewelry. So those have to be scheduled. Make sure that you understand that, and then you make the decision and not the agent making the decision for you.
Got
Those
it.
are big. Okay. Oh, and also make sure your agent knows where your pool is covered. Is it covered under other structures, or is it covered under your coverage A? So if you have, sometimes the pot depends on the carrier. Sometimes the carrier will cover your pool under coverage A. So if your replacement cost or under the building, if your replacement cost is $250,000 and they did not include the pool on there, that could affect your payout if there's a claim or something happens. So make sure that you understand, as well as your agent knows, depending on the carrier.
Got it. Interesting. Okay. What things you always make sure, I think we covered that a little bit. What do you always make sure your insurance covers when you bind for people that other agents may skip over? You're big on that replacement cost estimate?
Yeah. So replacement cost, that's probably the biggest issue right now that I see. And then the water damage. So those two, I mean, people know, most people know about deductibles, they understand that concept, but they may not know that they have, a sub-limit on water damage, which is big, and a replacement cost. So they may say, well, why is your quote different? I mean, the quote does not vary from agent to agent for the same company, for the same carrier.
Right.
It's just that they've made changes to the limits of the insurance or the deductibles or the credits they're applying.
Right.
So that's another thing. If they're applying a bunch of credits, and then after the closing, the company reviews it, you're not gonna get those credits, your insurance is gonna go up.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a problem.
And I think that people hate paying for insurance because it's like you put money away and you never see that money again. It's when you need your insurance that you want it to be right. So it stinks paying for it, but when you need it, you want it to be there for you.
Right, and I've seen that happen quite often especially with water damage. No, take everything out. I want the simple. These are, I've had clients tell me, I want the cheapest thing. I need to do the closing, and then we'll modify it later on. It never happens. So you get everything done. And I had one client after about 3 months in, they had a problem with a hose to one of the vanities in the bathroom, a break, and it literally flooded the house. I mean, it flooded
Wow.
there was about 5 or 6 inches throughout the house, and they did not have, they had that exclusion on there, and they had to,
Wow.
so yeah, make sure that you know what you're getting into and what you have, and
Yep.
now's a good time to review your policies now. Whether you're a homeowner or a business owner, review your policies, know what's there, what your sub limits are, what you have, what coverage you have, what coverage you don't have. Ask your agent if any questions you may have about it.
And which companies are historically best and worst on paying claims?
It's really gonna, well, every time if somebody's searches online for a carrier, the review on a carrier, they're only gonna see the bad stuff, the claims that were denied, etc.
The angry consumer who wants
The
to write
angry
about
consumer.
it.
Yeah, you never hear about a consumer, doing a review for an insurance carrier for paying their claim.
For doing an excellent job.
Yeah, I mean, they all have different underwriting departments. They all have some are more aggressive than others. If you put a claim and you believe that is incorrect, or they're just undercutting you, you definitely should be going with an adjuster.
I was going to ask that too. Do you
Yeah.
recommend people get public adjusters?
I mean, if they don't believe that they've gotten a fair shake from their insurance carrier, they should absolutely get a second opinion and see if the adjuster would be able to get additional money for them. That's another thing, that going back to questions you should ask your agent. Some carriers do not allow for adjusters, and some carriers will not pay cash as a claim. They will send somebody to do a managed repair for them. So there's several carriers out there that will do a managed repair, meaning that they'll send out their own contractor to fix the problem. And I've known people that really they want that. And I had a client that was she was an older lady. She didn't want to have to deal with having to get a contractor herself and do all that stuff, and the carrier sent out a contractor, and she was happy with it. But understand that sometimes a carrier may not be sending you cash, to pay a claim.
Right.
Or they may, I've seen a lot of surplus, or some surplus lines, some surplus carriers say that they will not allow adjusters.
Interesting.
So yeah, and you'll sign for that. You'll sign that on the application. So read your applications when you're completing your applications and signing them. Make sure you understand what you're signing. If you don't understand, ask your agent, what is this about? Yeah.
Okay, my last question, and then maybe if you have anything else to add. If I make a claim on my insurance, will my insurance go up next year? Will my insurance drop me? Will it stay the same? Am I harmed by using my insurance when I need it?
Right. So you should not be harmed when you use your insurance. If it's a standard Florida company, they will not drop you for filing a claim. Your rates do not go up based on the number of claims that you have if you're already with them. They are some companies, though, if you're getting if you're going to go and get a new policy with them, they're going to ask you for what your claim history is, and depending on the type of claims and the number of claims, they may reject you, or they may add a premium on top of it. And I've seen that. I mean, they're allowed to drop you if they see that there's 2 or 3 claims in 2 or 3 years that are non-weather related, that are not acts of God. So if you have 3 water claims, I've seen companies that'll non-renew them, and it's not only the standard company. You'll see that from Citizens as well. Citizens can drop people if they believe it's an abuse of number of claims. If there is a claim and you do get an adjuster and you've already filed the claim, make sure that your adjuster reopens that claim and does not file a new one, because then you'll have two claims under your belt, and then that'll count against you. So be careful with that. So yeah, I mean, just you know, when it's another thing, when it's a surplus line, you're literally almost reapplying every year for the policy. So in those cases, they may, you know, if you have a claim, you have to disclose it, and they may say, you know, we're not taking anybody with claims, even though it was the same carrier. So yeah, and another thing, open claims are a big problem right now. So if you have an open claim, it's hard to get another policy for that person. They don't like to see an open claim, especially on that property. They're going to want to see that it's done already. So keep all the receipts, keep all pictures, documentation, permits, everything, that all the repairs were done. Any repairs, always do them with a licensed contractor, that they get a permit. Don't have your Cuban cousin, you know, do them, and because it's not going to work out in your favor at the end of the day when you're looking for another policy, when you have to show proof that things were done, especially when it has to do with plumbing, electrical, or the roof. You're going to need permits to do anything with that. Okay.
Yep. Good advice.
Yeah.
All right, Pablo. I think that was helpful. Good information that maybe most people aren't thinking about, but they should be.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. And it's a good time right now. Oh, the last thing I want to throw in there, you do not have to wait for your renewal to change carriers. So you could search around, and your agent should be able to work with your bank to make payment on a new policy, and they'll get refunded for the prorated amount of the old policy. So if you can find savings, or if you need you know, better coverage that you don't have, once you do your review and you see that you have exclusions or sub limits that you don't like, make sure that you have that reviewed, and you know, don't wait for the renewal. Okay.
Awesome. Good. All right. Thank you, Pablo. I'm going to put your information up on the screen. If anybody wants to call you to talk insurance, I think you're super knowledgeable and you always take care of your clients.
Yeah. If somebody calls the office, please leave a message. We get back to everybody. Unfortunately, right now with everything, most of my agents are working from remotely. So we're calling in to get our messages, and we'll call you back. I mean, we're not being able to pick up the phone right off the bat, but we'll call you. Okay?
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Lindley.
I appreciate it. Talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.